One of the key technologies we need in order to make the energy transition a reality is energy storage. Now, there's not one energy storage technology. There are families of different types of energy storage technologies. Now, thanks to the European Association for the Storage of Energy, EASE, I'll be attending their global conference this week in Brussels on the 24th to the 26th of October. Now, personally, there are a number of things that I'll be keeping an eye out for. 5 things. The first one is around the classic battery technology. We typically think of lithium-ion as the battery when we think of energy storage. Every day we hear about new advancements in lithium-ion technologies in terms of different manufacturing processes, increased capacity, better efficiency. But lithium-ion is just one type of technology, one type of material. You have lead-acid batteries. You have batteries based on combinations with sodium, nickel, and all sorts of other elements. And that innovation is continuing. So I'll be curious to figure out what the latest and greatest is in classic batteries. The second one is around large-scale chemical storage. If you want to store enough energy for a city for a winter, you're talking about a vast amount of energy, gigawatts or terawatts. Now that's a lot of batteries in today's technology. So this is where you start looking at taking excess energy today and storing it in some sort of other form, be that hydrogen, ammonia, or some sort of synthetic fuel or synthetic gas. And then you take the energy that's been created in a new form and store that in vast underground caverns so that you have enough energy to power an entire city for an entire winter. The third one is all the other types of technologies around chemical, mechanical, thermal energy. We have supercapacitors being used now to be able to provide voltage and power regulation within the grid. That's energy storage. We have all sorts of mechanical compressed air, liquid air, using gravity flywheels to store energy. So I'll be interested to figure out who's using this in Europe. What are the plans in terms of these alternative new types of energy storage? Now, of course, let's not forget pumped hydro. Pumped hydro has been around with us for about 100 years. So it's not a new technology, but it's going strong. There are some of the biggest batteries on the planet today for energy storage are pumped hydro installations. And there are a lot of new planned pumped hydro in development right now and planned across the globe. Now, the fourth area is around policy and regulation. There has to be policy and regulation in order to both incentivize investment and development of new technologies and the deployment of those technologies. Now, there are many different point of views out there in terms of what's the perfect energy policy for the EU. There's different technologies, different stakeholders, different points of view. Now, I don't know what the ideal policy or regulation is, but I'll be curious to hear all sides during the week, so that at the end of the week, I'll have a better informed opinion myself in terms of what the policy and regulation looks like going forward. Now, the last one, the fifth point, is all about making money. Regardless of how cool a technology is, it has to be commercially viable. And by commercially viable, I mean it has to work efficiently and reliably. It has to be at a price point that makes it commercially viable in the market. Now, of course, policy and regulation has a huge role to play here. Policy and regulation can have unintended consequences. Sometimes you'll end up with one technology that's advantaged or disadvantaged based on the policy or regulation. Or you'll end up in a situation where certain stakeholders in today's energy value chain are not allowed to offer certain services. Now, right now, there's a whole coordination group working within the EU on what the future of the energy storage policy should be like. So again, it'll be interesting to see what the different viewpoints that people have. There's lots of vested stakeholders, so I'm sure there'll be some interesting discussions. Now, I'll be active on Twitter and LinkedIn for the week, sharing with you the cool technologies, the topics, the debates, and some of the interesting conversations I'll have during the week. Be sure to follow us using the hashtag that I've posted out here. So it should be an interesting week. And if you happen to be at the event up in Brussels, see you there.